Hi, this is Amanda Mayer, and this is Module 8 for Educational Leadership, Leading with a Moral Compass. A moral compass is a set of personal values that guide our decision-making. These values reside in our hearts and have been formed over our lifetime. Most of us have many values, but only a few, about 3 to 5, become our core values. Some example of these core values might be integrity, family, fairness, personal responsibility, and kindness. We develop our core values during our early years, and their formation comes from the influences of our family, friends, organizations like churches and scouts, and role models such as coaches and neighbors. These values help us define what kind of behavior is right and wrong, and helps point us in an ethical direction. We have to find our true north in our lives, and then you have to stick by it. There's a line that divides right and wrong, which is hard to find in our culture today. There is pressure sometimes that there's no right and wrong, just whatever fits the current situation. But there is a line, and you need to know what your line is. You need to ask yourself what is negotiable and what is non-negotiable, what is acceptable and what isn't. Make those values very clear before you're faced with the decision. If you wallow while you're making the decision, it won't be a good one. Take time to reflect on what your line is and what it is that you won't cross. The concept of the moral compass and the definition of morality are pretty clear and simple, but the concept of what constitutes morality is not as simple. One person's moral compass may not point in the same direction as another's, as far right and wrong conduct their belief and how those are concerned. Our moral compass is shaped by various religious, societal, and experiential forces. People find their moral compass in a variety of places, through influential role models, sometimes holy books, or family values. A sound moral compass can help you strike a balance in your life between reason and emotion, practicality and idealism, and your needs as well as the needs of others. It is important to be aware of our emotions. It seems like moral judgments are based on reason. However, most of our moral judgments are actually based on emotions or even just intuitions. Sometimes when we are coming to a moral conclusion, what we're often doing is rationalizing a judgment or a decision that our brains have already made instinctively. This shouldn't be surprising because almost 90% of our brain's decisions are made automatically and intuitively. So why should moral decisions be any different? Many scientists believe that emotions have evolved in part to encourage us to obey society's moral rules so that we can effectively live together in groups. Moral emotions generally point people to doing the right thing and away from doing the wrong thing, but we need to remember 3 things. First, our emotions are far from infallible. Second, although moral emotions urge us in the right direction, we often use rationalizations to deceive ourselves. We often overcome our guilt, shame, and embarrassment and manage to do the wrong thing anyway. We use psychological tricks to be able to view our immoral acts as maybe not so bad after all. Third, our emotional reactions tend to beat our logical thoughts to the punch. But by practicing mindfulness, we can improve our response. With diligence and practice, we can override our automatic emotional judgments with thoughtful, cognitive calculations. That's why it's really important to have a moral compass and to develop that so that we can make those decisions logically and not so much based on our emotions. As a leader, we have an obligation to set the tone in our buildings among our students and our staff. This involves a reflective sharpening of our own moral awareness, which is a conscious examination of the values and principles by which we choose to live, and how those have influenced our own decisions that we have made, and more importantly, the part that the moral choice plays in shaping our own future and that of the world around us. It is important as a leader to always put people first in your decision making. You should always strive to improve the lives of others. It's important to respect individual dignity. You might have a right to disagree with my behavior, but you have no right to take away my self-esteem. And that goes with our students. We have to remember that. We might disagree with their behavior, but in no way are we allowed to take away their self-esteem when dealing with that behavior. We must treat everyone fairly. If there are rules, then everyone must play by the same rules. And it's important to always be honest. Leaders should also ensure that moral education is part of their school curriculum and integrated into their school culture. Moral education should strive to teach students to understand the world from multiple perspectives in a continuous, never-ending manner, while also developing their own voice and their ability to take responsibility. Students should learn to see themselves as active participants, as part of the human race, of the world. They're all one group, people with a global consciousness and a moral conscience. Using key components of moral action, understanding, thinking, and taking responsibility are important parts of moral education. This is my moral compass. It's defined mostly by my faith and my values that have been instilled in me and been worked on since I was little, by my family and my education. I believe that respect, transparency, honesty, virtue, empathy, and being a servant leader are all important aspects of being a moral leader. These are my references. And this is how I feel that this assignment correlates to what we're doing right now. Thank you, and have a great day.